Today's episode of the BS Podcast with Cousin Sal and Andre Ward is brought to you by SeatGeek. That is our presenting sponsor. Since the early 1960s, find the best tickets for baseball, hockey, basketball, Hamilton, whatever you want. Last night, Clippers, Jazz, Game 5. I had a feeling a lot of people were using SeatGeek because I saw a lot of Jazz fans in the stands. There's no way they had Clippers tickets. I'm convinced they went to SeatGeek. It is by far the easiest way to shop for the best tickets thanks to their revolutionary grading system. Buy and sell tickets in just 2 taps on your phone. Everything fully guaranteed. Try it out. Download the SeatGeek app today or go to SeatGeek.com. We are also brought to you by TheRinger.com. I'm writing a column for TheRinger.com. It's about basketball. I think it's going up Thursday, Friday at the latest. But you can also check out all the great NBA stuff that we've done. I think we've had a really good last couple weeks, as well as all the other stuff, NFL, draft, pop culture, everything. And also, the Ringer NFL show is really heating it up because we got the NFL draft on Thursday. We have a late night round 1 recap podcast with all of our NFL dudes, Lombardi, Clark, Mays, everybody. And then we have another one Friday after round 2. So subscribe to the Ringer NFL show right now. You can hear all that stuff. Speaking of the draft, Cousin Sal coming up. We're going to do draft odds. And then an interview we did with Andre Ward that I was surprised by how much I enjoyed. What a cool guy. All right, Pearl Jam, here we go. All right, Wednesday afternoon, 11:30 a.m. West Coast time. A lot of basketball coming tonight. We have Andre Ward in an interview that I taped last week coming up a little bit later that I'm very excited about. He was very interesting. Right now, our old friend Cousin Sal, we're hitting kind of a sweet spot for you. NFL is the sweetest of the sweet spots.
I love it. It's great.
This is the other sweet spot. NBA, NHL.
Yeah.
You don't have to force yourself to bet WNBA games and arena football and the Pro Bowl. These are actually live playoff games you have. Boxing, Cinco de Mayo's coming up. Kentucky Derby.
So much.
NFL futures are going to be posted. You're back.
I'm back. You want to say this is your favorite time of year. I think it's blasphemous to include a time. See, even so, that's terrible.
Because no football,
There's
don't
no
like
football.
that.
You can't say that. You can't say it.
I like when I can just fill all of these TVs with games.
Right.
Friday night, the Celtics and Bruins were playing in the playoffs, and the Red Sox were on. And there was another NBA and NHL game on. It's just magnificent. What's better than that?
Yeah. Well, what's better is you can fill all these TVs and 9 more on any football Sunday.
That's with bad football games.
Exactly.
Could watch it. Sam Bradford overthrow people on 3rd and 11.
London. Yeah.
We might get some good quarterbacks in this draft. You and I are going to talk about NFL draft odds.
Yeah.
Because why not gamble on the NFL draft? It's already one of the most fun events. Why can't we gamble on it?
Vegas said why not gamble either? You can now legally gamble on the NFL draft in Vegas. Isn't it great? This is the first year.
In the casinos.
Westgate, some other sports books have it and you can legally gamble. They don't have all the props, but they have a good dozen or so props. I think you should be able to gamble on everything football, right? When you want to gamble on the Leonard Fournette's Wonderlic score before he takes a test or like what before the schedule comes out.
That would be fun to gamble on.
Yeah, what
somebody's 40?
What the Sunday night games will be. Yeah, combine times for sure. But
how about who's going to fail a drug test with a diluted sample? That would have been a fun event. That would have been good. I had him at 100-1.
Unbelievable what goes on with these guys.
Yeah, that would be good. So instead of being in the green room, it seems like one of these guys should just be in Vegas.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Betting on themselves, like trying to make a name for themselves.
Yeah, right under the board.
Yeah, I'm going right to Vegas.
That's
the
interesting.
Raiders take me.
That's interesting.
So the biggest thing that jumped out to me when I looked at these odds a week ago was Deshaun Watson. The over-under for what pick he would be drafted was 25, which seemed insane because like he's Lombardi's favorite quarterback in the draft by far. There's been rumors of him going in the top 10. Why wouldn't we both be putting our mortgages? I mean, you've already bet your mortgage once this year. And
I did, yeah.
Won successfully.
Yeah, how many times is that going to work out for?
Right.
Well, Watson's 12.5 now. You saw him at 25?
Moved 12 spots?
Yeah, I never saw him at 25.
It was 25 initially. Maybe it was a misprint.
Yeah, I saw him at 12.5.
Okay.
Excuse me. I'm already...
Jesus. You're like Hubie Brown.
But thank you. It's a great compliment. It's crazy that he's 12.5. Like Trubisky is supposed to go ahead of him. And now we're hearing reports this morning from the Browns that Trubisky, or not from the Browns, there's rumors that Trubisky is going to be their number one pick. And
How is that possible?
It drives me crazy. Like, Watson, Alabama has probably 6 defensive players that are going to be drafted, and 3 of them possibly in the first round. And Watson torched those guys the last 2 years, the last 2 bowl championship games.
Yeah.
Trubisky, what do we have? He was 8-4.
13 starts, right?
13 starts. He lost. I saw the bowl game against Stanford. He threw 2 picks. Playing the ACC wasn't great. 8-4. 8-4 in there. Like, I don't get it. So he's poised. So he has nice completion percentage.
Good in the combine.
Did well in the combine, yeah. But
good interview.
And everyone says, like, he is absolutely the best quarterback. He should be taken first, but don't think of starting him. He needs to learn. He needs to sit back and learn from freaking Brock Osweiler.
But he's a project.
Yeah, he's a project. He's going to learn from Brock Osweiler the first year. That's the guy you want. It's all working out for the Browns.
And maybe Robert Griffin can come back and do some tutoring of him, too.
Out. Yeah.
Yeah, Lombardi wrote a piece that I really liked for The Ringer a few weeks ago about some of the indicators that people look at. It's not right or wrong, but they're pretty good indicators. And one of them is just, did you start wherever you were? Did your team win? It seems basic, but with Watson, it's like he's in 9th grade. He's starting for his high school team. He gets to college. He immediately starts starting for them. And he won everywhere he went. And on the biggest stage possible, did well. We've seen guys who did well on the big stage who weren't good quarterbacks, but this guy actually has a lot of things you'd need, the intangibles, plus he performed.
Yeah, what's not to like?
Like, if I'm a Jets fan, this is who I want. I'm like, let's go down with somebody that I actually have seen do it.
Right. I think it's Watson or bust. Yeah, I think he's the only one. Teams like the Browns and the Jets and probably even the 49ers are not going to do well this year. You might want to wait till next year anyway. Sam Darnold, Josh Rosen, supposed to be better than Trubisky. But if you are going to take a chance, I think Deshaun Watson's your guy.
Right. If you want somebody who can play soon-ish.
Yeah, but if I'm Deshaun Watson, I'm ecstatic that the Browns don't want me. Like, I can fall to the Texans, who have really one hole to fill, and that's quarterback, and you can be on a
what pick are they?
Really good team. Are they 26 or something?
He's not falling that far.
No, they're not. They're not that number. Wait, hold on.
Why wouldn't the Jaguars take him?
Hold on, I screwed that up already.
The Texans? Well, they could trade up.
Oh no, they are. They're 25.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that.
Yeah, so he'll go around 12. Yeah, that would be great.
Why wouldn't Jacksonville take him? Haven't we all watched Blake Bortles and bet against him and not had him on our fantasy team? And
yeah, so Jacksonville, that's my best pick so far. Leonard Fournette, over-under is 4. For a running back, that's way high. Like, of course, it worked out with Ezekiel Elliott, but there's so many more examples of where you can wait.
And that was crazy Jerry Jones.
Sure.
I mean, that wasn't a rational football team.
Exactly.
It just worked out.
And it's the best offensive line of the decade, too,
Yeah.
he's playing on. So, but Fournette's over-under is 4. The over is minus 430. I jumped on it at minus 280. It's still crazy odds, but I'm looking for a push.
Well, to be clear, over means
5,
he will go
6,
after
7.
4.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay.
Under is a lower pick. But I don't see anyone taking Fournette before 4. The Browns, well, I guess you can't accuse them of doing.
They're not taking a running back first.
Take a running
That's not
back.
happening.
Yeah. 49ers, same thing.
No way.
They need an edge rusher. Bears, I don't think so either. They're
No
looking
way.
secondary. So I'm looking at least a push here for Jacksonville. But you're right. Why not? They could take a quarterback too here. They have so many needs.
I just feel like every year we come out of the playoffs talking about how important quarterbacks are.
Yeah.
And unless you have one, your team just doesn't matter. Like Minnesota, who fell apart for a variety of reasons, but they just didn't have a.
By the way,
Sam
back
Bradford
in the
wasn't
mix.
good enough.
Back in the mix. They're not extending Bridgewater. They're not pursuing him.
I saw that. That's football's brutal.
But not pursuing Sam Bradford either, which is great, because when he set that stupid record for pass completions, a completion percentage or whatever it was, they're all praising him, Coach Zimmer and everyone. Like, now they want nothing to do with him, so they're back in the mix too. There could
what
maybe
pick is that?
They could maybe be 4 teams in the first round. Minnesota.
Well, Minnesota traded their pick, though.
Yeah, they don't have a first round pick.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
right. They had Bradford.
They traded
so
for
may
poor
have to get-
Bradford.
They may have to
keep
get back
Bradford.
in that first round.
Yeah. Well, we see it every year. You can't win without a good quarterback. You definitely can't win with a bad quarterback. That's why this Kaepernick stuff makes me laugh.
Right.
They're 16 TDs, 4 picks.
Yeah.
It's like, we all watched football last
Sure.
year. Like nobody was ever like, "Oh, this Colin Kaepernick, here he goes."
He's down
I didn't
7.
know-
Don't count him out.
Whoa,
Like,
he's
yeah.
down 21. Would you want him as your backup? You have to
Kaepernick?
come in and basically be Dak Prescott. I guess he could do a facsimile of that, right?
For Kaepernick to do that?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what situation would work for Kaepernick. Because the backup quarterback, you're supposed to be seen, not heard.
Right.
You're supposed to be able to go in and do a reasonable impression of whoever the starter is, so
0
they
for
don't
2.
completely change the offense.
Yeah.
So what team is that?
I don't think so. I don't know. Like that. That's why like all this kneeling down and the anthem. Like I don't know
I don't
if it
think that
matters.
matters.
If you're not in the top 37 quarterbacks in the league, what does it really
Isn't
matter?
that the same reason Tebow didn't get a backup quarterback job? Because he couldn't have just gone in and
Yeah.
replicated what the starter did
Exactly.
on any team. He's still
Yeah.
Tebow.
And your fans will be screaming for him. And they'll
Yeah. It's annoying. Who
Cut him
wants it?
off. Yeah, I don't know. But there's a lot of lot of good stuff. For
Yeah,
us,
let's do
I
the
think.
odds.
Let's do it. So Fournette's my biggest one. I like over 4. I think that's at least a push.
So if you push that, you just pay the vig and that's it.
No, you don't pay anything.
Oh.
You just like, and I'll take a push.
that's wonderful.
At this point for me,
Yeah.
I will gladly take a push. McCaffrey, Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah.
8.5. Everyone has him going to Carolina. He's listed as a
That
running
seems
back.
too easy. Why does everybody know where he's going?
I know.
The NFL never works that way.
Everything you hear is like, that's a perfect fit. What does Cam Newton need? He needs easy completions, and that's what he'll be in the slot. But other than that, where do you see Christian McCaffrey? Like on the Eagles or?
That's a top 10 seems high for him.
It's
I
tough.
think he's going to be good too, but
So
what's
you
a
might
slot
like,
receiver
you might like
worth?
over.
I would
Over
ta-
8.5.
I'm with Lombardi. Lombardi had O.J. Howard as the best guy
Really?
and as the best offensive guy.
Mm-hmm. That's
And-
also 8.5.
Yeah, man. If you get a monster tight end,
Mm-hmm.
would you rather have a monster tight end or a great slot receiver who could return?
I think monster tight end.
Yeah.
I think that's the way.
Monster tight end is the
Terrified
Pats for
of
that
Gronk.
brief second when they had Bennett and Gronk together.
Yeah.
It was like, oh my God,
Right.
nobody's ever stopping us. And then
Right.
Gronk got hurt. But
Yeah, I think it's a good spot. Now this
are you okay with somebody being named OJ? It seems like after the OJ murders.
interesting? Oh yeah,
Yeah, because he's like 23. Like OJ Mayo, you'd be like, well, his name was OJ. You can't blame him. He was like 9 when the murders happened.
well wait,
But
23 was in 93, right?
Well, the murders happened in 94. So
right.
unless OJ Howard's like 25,
Oh,
he
man.
was
That's either-
post OJ murder.
that either the parents are like, what the hell did we do? Or
But
depending
they
on the
didn't
month
know.
it was born.
Maybe
or-
they're like the jurors. They
Yeah.
didn't know what happened.
I had no
What,
idea.
there's a murder?
That's
When?
interesting. Yeah, you don't think OJ Anderson, OJ McDuffie. It's like, yeah, those guys are obviously
He's our
older,
first
but
post OJ.
good for him.
Yeah.
Post OJ.
Way to
OJ.
knock the wall down, OJ.
Now, this draft, they say, isn't big on offensive linemen. Usually that's it. And that's boring, when the
Yeah.
3 of the first 5 guys are from, like, Western Michigan. You've
Yes.
never heard of them. But so I think they might be taking more chances with running backs and quarterbacks. Will there be, how many quarterbacks are there? 3.5 quarterbacks in the draft.
So Mahomes,
Mahomes has been moving up.
Trubisky, Watson, there's 3.
Watson. And then Deshaun Kaiser is right at 31.5.
Is that the guy who said he's the next Tom Brady?
I think he is,
Or
right?
he's a cross between Tom Brady and who was the other one?
Notre Dame. Yeah. I don't know. What did he say?
Keanu Reeves is the replacement, crossed with Tom Brady, crossed with Lance Harbor. I think
Yeah,
he just started
cross
naming
everybody.
sports movie quarterbacks.
Yeah. And Davis Webb, the Cal quarterback, is now moving up the ranks, so he could sneak into the first round.
It's a strong name.
I kind of Davis Webb.
Yeah, it's a good name.
It
I
is
could
pretty
see
good.
like Davis Webb for $1 at the end of the draft. when
There
they-
are a ton of good names. There's no name is better than Mel Kiper Jr. though. It really is.
It really is.
It's a terrific. I'm infatuated with Mel Kiper Jr.
I like that he's aging to a point that he now looks like he's wearing a Mel Kiper Jr. mask the whole time, but it's actually his head and body.
There
It's
are
great.
odds at when his hair will be drafted and taken in the draft. Like a 3rd round, I think is early. He's out of my favorite juniors. He's 4. Let's go over our favorite juniors. I put Sammy Davis in there.
Are these legitimate juniors?
Legitimate juniors.
JFK Jr. is way
Oh,
up there
you
for
like
me.
him.
I love JFK Jr.
So you put him 1?
No, he's just way up there.
I have
Ken Griffey Jr.,
Ken Griffey. I have Sammy Davis, Donkey Kong,
Uncle Jr.,
Uncle Junior of Sopranos is 5.
Donkey Kong Jr.,
Donkey Kong Jr. and Junior Mintz. I have that. And Mel
Junior
Kiper.
Mintz.
And Mel Kiper's in there. But there are so many juniors.
Wow, that should be a whole other podcast.
Yeah, you're right.
Us doing the top
There are a ton.
100 greatest juniors.
Roy Jones. Yeah. I don't know.
Oh,
There's
Roy
a lot.
Jones Jr. is a great junior.
Yeah. There's a lot.
I like the one when I like when they do senior. That's been one of my favorite recent trends.
What do you mean?
When an athlete has like a 3-year-old kid they named after themselves and they put the senior on the
Steve
jersey.
Smith
It's
did that.
great.
Yeah, right.
It's so good.
That's great. It's really good. Here's a good one I like. Will the first place kicker be drafted in the NFL draft? Rounds 1 through 3 is plus 300. Rounds 4 through 7 minus 450.
So after the Tampa Bay guy last year, wouldn't everybody be terrified to do this?
Everyone, Roberto Aguayo, everyone had to learn their lesson. No one makes enough about that. That's a huge, that's one of the worst draft picks in
really
recent
is.
memory. They traded back to take him at 59. He went 22 of 31 field goal attempts.
He was awful.
And they were 9-7. They missed the playoffs by one of those field goal misses.
Just take a 5'9" nickelback like everybody else does in round 2. Don't take a place kicker.
Exactly. It's crazy. So
follow the crowd.
I think we go rounds 4 through 7. I think people learn their lesson.
Did you notice, it's just quick football thing?
Yeah.
Did you notice the Pats stole the Bills running back?
They did?
You didn't see that one?
No. What do you mean? Which one? Was
Mike
it him?
Gillislee?
Oh, they did, right? I must have looked past it because it was in my
The Pats
subconscious.
just cherry pick guys off the other AFC. It's not like we don't have a big enough advantage in the AFC East.
Right.
But every year we just grab, like my nephew's laughing right now. Every year we just take like 2 like sneaky good guys from the teams that we play, and then they're better with us. It's got to be demoralizing.
Right.
If you're a Bills fan, you're like, fuck, that guy's going to be good for them.
I don't like this. I don't like it at all. Don't trade with the
When
Patriots.
can we bet on the AFC East and the Pats?
Probably in like 2 weeks.
How high would the odds go for you to be scared off?
So it's funny.
We've had it at between minus 200 and minus 250 basically every year for the last 4.
Oh, I thought it was lower than that because remember,
one year
both
went
years-
way down.
Well, even last year, Brady was out the first 4.
Well, that's when we
Wasn't it?
That's when we made our
170?
legendary bet.
I know, but now it's
The Pats and Hillary,
Oh, good Lord, we did. How did that turn
the
out?
greatest bet of all time that anyone ever lost. But
we didn't lose that.
just got to throw that one in as soon as it's up.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be. We're not gonna get a break here. I think it's gonna be minus 400. Or
I would say like minus 450,
Yeah.
minus 460, something like that.
And I'm still not convinced with these Browns. They find a way to screw it up. I think Belichick could trade Aaron Hernandez for the number 1 pick. At this point. I really do think. Like I don't know. How are they going to screw this up? It's terrible that they have all this control over the draft. The Browns, and none of our friends work for them anymore, so we could speak freely about it. But it's like.
It does make it so much fun, right? It's really the Costner movie. They have 1 and 12. They have some random quarterback they like that nobody else likes.
Yeah.
It's great.
They're all analytics, but Mitch Trubisky's played like 12, 13 games, but they're all in on the analytics.
Yeah.
Like
These guys are some great 13 games.
I think the Browns are like a homeless amputee in Newark, New Jersey that finds a $10,000 casino chip from the win in Vegas. And is like, well,
They just don't know what to do with it.
I can't cash this in. I'm gonna trade it in for a turkey club sandwich. I think that's what.
Just take Garrett 1.
They have
you
to
have
do it.
12. You have all these other picks.
Right.
Move up to where you think you can get Watson or Trubisky, and you're done.
Yeah.
It's not rocket science.
Watson and
Garrett's
Garrett.
the best guy. Everyone says he's the best.
Sure, and you watch the
Best one, just
highlights.
take 'em.
It's great. It's great.
My fear as a fan of the dominant AFC force of this century, the New England Patriots.
Yes.
Tennessee's at 5, and they made a smart trade back last year where they picked up some stuff, and it was a good trade.
That's what you're worried about them?
I'm worried about them moving backwards again and picking up all these picks from the Browns because the Browns are going to want to come out of the draft with Garrett and whatever quarterback
Just
they
give
want
them
at
away.
5.
Right.
And Tennessee's just stockpiling assets. They're now officially scary.
And they need a wide receiver.
They need a wide receiver.
That's what we always scared about.
Move back to 12, take Mike Williams.
Right.
Like that. That would scare me. And then get an extra first-round pick.
Yeah.
I don't like that scenario.
How about that? If Mike Williams shores up that offense on Tennessee, and then you have Deshaun Watson on Houston, all of a sudden that division is not laughable.
Houston's not getting Deshaun Watson.
No?
They're getting the dude who
You
thought
think
he
they're
was
trading up?
Tom Brady and Lance Harbor. Deshaun Pfizer.
Deshaun Kaiser.
Deshaun Kaiser. They're getting him.
All
The
right.
next Tom Brady.
Let's see. Okay, so now these are some more obscure ones, but you could still bet these. Jimmy Garoppolo, will he be traded on draft day? What do you think the odds are?
Oh, he's not getting traded.
What do you say?
Minus 350.
That's way higher.
Oh.
No is minus 1,400.
Oh.
Yeah.
He's not getting traded.
That's the other thing the Browns did. Now, they've only signed Osweiler to free up trades to get Garoppolo, and that didn't work.
Pats weren't trading him.
No.
They looked at it. They
It's
looked at the odds
unbelievable
of Brady.
what
He's
control
40
they
years
have.
old.
Yeah.
It's like however great he is, he's still 40 years old. Nobody's ever been successful at age 40 at quarterback.
And Brissett's not rolling the dice with him, no?
Maybe the Browns could go for him. I don't know. He didn't show quite enough in the little auditions.
Right.
I like him though.
Yeah. Maybe they should offer him. Myles Garrett being the first pick is minus 850.
Oh, come on.
But the first pick being a defensive player is minus 750. I don't know how that works.
That's
I like this one. Will
ridiculous.
at least one team trade up to select one of the first top 10 overall picks? Yes, minus 185. That's doable.
So that would be our Cleveland 12 scenario?
Right.
If they moved into the top 10.
Moved into the top 10 or anybody else. And it's happened 8 of the last 10 years.
I think Tennessee's trading that pick.
You do?
I think they're smart. I think they just try to turn it. They do what Belichick would do if he had those picks. Belichick would always trade back if he had 5.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess so. If you want like a Christian McCaffrey or a Leonard Fournette or one of those quarterbacks early on, that's what you would do.
It's pretty hard to trade up for a slot receiver,
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know.
even if it said McCaffrey's son.
What else do we have here?
I don't know.
We took over the juniors. We went over that.
How about will Cleveland fuck up the draft minus 500? Is that
There's
a
just
bet?
no way they're not going to, right?
That should just be a bet. It should just be the Vegas decides. They just have to figure out what a fuck up
How
is.
they screw it up. Oh, what about Jerry Jones screws up and drafts the Hooters waitress who's accompanying him in the war room? He accidentally writes her name down.
Could
Steven
see that in
picks
the
it up,
third round.
Bring it to the.
Do they still
bring it
let
to
him near the
podium.
draft?
I don't think so. He's in a hyperbolic chamber. What else do we want to talk about? Mahomes is 22.5. He'll be right around there, I think. Mike Williams, McCaffrey. We looked on
So
all
what's your
these.
big bet? Fournette?
I'm going Fournette.
Okay.
I'm going for the push over 4.
I go Watson. Will get picked before the 12th pick.
You like Watson?
Yeah.
All right.
There's no way he falls past 12.
Now, do we talk NBA?
Yeah, let's talk NBA really quick. But first, a break. Quick break to talk about MeUndies. If you've been settling for store-bought underwear 5-packs, I have something that will change your life for the better. My old friend, MeUndies. I swear on my kid's life, I wear MeUndies every day. They came out with this certain underwear that's got it's like boxers, but they're loose and they're long, and it's just, I don't know. They speak to me. The MeUndies speak to me. They're made out of sustainably sourced micromodal, a fabric that is 3 times softer than cotton. They're unbelievably comfortable, so comfortable that my wife steals underwear from my drawers, and wears them and complains that there's not enough MeUndies female underwear, which I think there are, but they just haven't sent them to me. So she's wearing mine. I think it's fine. It's the world's most comfortable underwear. And right now you can save up to 33% off MeUndies with a monthly subscription. Select your style, size, and plan. MeUndies will send you undies that they think will make you swoon every month. If you're not ready for that, you can still save 20% off your first pair. My listeners get 20% off their first pair plus free shipping. You only have to go to MeUndies.com/BS. Find out why me and my boys are so happy. Once again, that's MeUndies.com/BS. Back to Cousin Sal. Yeah, NBA. Golden State minus 250. We bet on them before the year that they would not win the title. What do we do? What do we
I'm
do?
going to kill you.
What do we do?
We made 2 big bets. I actually made 3. You couldn't make the third because you have a vote. But
Yeah,
the
yeah.
House and I have Harden for MVP, and we're going to lose, and we're going to be furious for all the reasons you've been laying out.
We had a whole text exchange a month ago.
Yes.
That the Westbrook train had rolled to the point that you had to hedge the bet, and
we
you
did.
guys rode the bet.
We didn't do it.
Yeah.
And I said, watch, Houston's going to win. And I swear, I will check that chain. I'm like, what happens when Houston wins in 5 games against Oklahoma City and Westbrook takes all his shots? And that's it.
Westbrook averaged 31 shots a game in that series.
Look, he's the Sports Center MVP. Give him all the ESPYs in the world. He's not the MVP. It's not basketball.
You
But-
got to make your teammates better in
Right.
some way. You can't make all of them worse. They all can't be worse in game 87 than they were in game 1.
Yeah.
And somehow all of them were worse except for Jeremy Grant shot pretty well, but he was also wide open the entire series because nobody had to guard him because Westbrook was going 1-on-3 the whole time. To me, it's like, I don't know why winning doesn't matter anymore. Mm-hmm. And what the eye test and performance, all this stuff. Westbrook, he didn't have any help.
Have we looked at the last time a player on a 6 seed won?
No,
not in our lifetime, right?
You're going back to 1982.
That is
Moses, 40 and 42.
That was his record.
So 1981-82, where the NBA just was not on.
Yeah.
It was like barely on television.
Right.
They tape delayed the finals. Mm-hmm. They had like one national game a week, and nobody knew who to vote for, and they just looked up in the stats like, Moses is averaging 31 a game. I'll vote for him.
Did he rip down the rim that year? Was that the only?
No, that was Dawkins.
Oh, Dawkins. I'm
yeah.
sorry. Okay. All right.
But yeah, Moses, if they do that vote over again with the numbers and stuff we have now, Bird would have won because the Celtics won like 60 games and he was good.
So House and I are going to lose that bet. You and I squeaked out Boston over 52.5
Incredible.
wins. We needed an amazing final week.
They beat the Bucks second string. They were down 18 in the second quarter.
And Cleveland needed to tank the 1 seed, and they really did. They sat their players in like 3 of the last 4 games.
Yep.
And Boston won. That was nice. The one we're struggling with, and God bless you, you've written 17 books and definitive books on the NBA history.
Yeah.
And we bet every other team but Golden State.
Yeah.
To win the title.
Well, I was going by history. I was thinking that the history says when you make a dramatic change and add somebody of the Durant caliber to an existing team, it gets rocky for a year.
Right.
And history was wrong.
But let's use your alien theory. Like if you drop someone on this earth and explain the 2016 season, it's like, well, Golden State was the best team. They won 73 games and they lost in the finals. Really, because Draymond Green got suspended for Game 5.
Because he punched someone in the balls.
He punched someone in the nuts. Yeah. That was it. So they lost. Even though they were the best team, they lost in the finals, and they're pissed off. They have a chip on their shoulder, and they added one of the top 5 players. Let's take all the other teams.
Right.
Let's stay away from them and take every other team but the Golden State Warriors. It's got to work out.
It was really a bet for Cleveland. I thought my theory was that Cleveland was going to go back-to-back, and LeBron was going to cement the legacy and the whole thing.
Right.
And still in play.
All right.
Even though they suck defensively, they still, when LeBron's surrounded by shooters, they're still really good. They can still shoot with the Warriors.
2 games are going to be, they're going to be down a lot earlier, and they're just going to have to give up that game, right? They're going to be down 18. They're like, we can't play enough defense to stay in these games. The problem, though, is
the Cavs are never in or out of a game.
Yeah.
And I say this on Twitter, and then the Cavs fans get mad at me. But I think it's great. They're the most entertaining playoff team we have. Every game, they're either rallying back from 20 or they're blowing a 20-point lead. It's the best.
That's true.
I really I've been enjoying their season.
Now, aside from that, we're looking for a Warriors sweep. You think they could run the table the rest of the way?
I don't think they will. It's the first team since the 0-1 Lakers that I feel like the conversation at least has to be had. Mm-hmm. How hard would it be? Like, I think they're going to sweep Utah or
what will those
Clips.
odds be? Will that be a minus 150 or will we get odds on that?
I think that would be to go 16-0.
No, just the next series.
Probably minus 200.
Oh, really?
Would be my guess.
Wow.
They'll jack it up. People like the Warriors.
Imagine, has there been a minus 200 for a sweep in the second round?
Probably not.
That
Maybe it'll be a little
high.
lower than that.
That's really high.
16-0, I would say the odds would be plus 850.
Oh, wow. I don't know.
It's really hard. Nobody's done it.
I know, but the over-under's got to be 2.5 losses the rest of the way, I think.
Well, see, that's
3.
a better bet. And that's what we should have been able to bet before the year. Every team should have what's your over-under for playoff losses.
That's pretty good.
You know? And like with the Thunder, you could have said, I'll go under 4.5 because I think they're going to be out in round 1, and you just do it that way.
And then for before the year, you go Knicks over on their playoff losses 0.5. So what do you do?
That's a
do
good
they
one.
make
I like
it,
that.
or are they going to lose 20 playoff games?
Yeah, that's good.
You know,
the Warriors, I would say the over under, I think 3 would have been fair. Mm-hmm. You figure they lose 1 in round 3 and maybe 2 in round. In the finals, so then if you go under that,
then
they basically have to only have 2 losses.
Yeah,
and again, it's like the 0-1 Lakers, I think went 15-1. Mm-hmm. The only loss they had was that Iverson overtime game 1 of the finals when he stepped over Ty Lue when he went off.
Right. Yeah.
That was the only game they lost the whole playoffs.
Right.
This Warriors team might be as good as that team.
For sure.
So we're in trouble.
We bet everyone else. We have everyone else. Are there any? Is there any
we have one
value?
thing in our favor,
What is it?
and this makes me feel
the
terrible.
hell
I
would
don't
it-
feel good about this.
Who'd have to get hurt? What?
No, it's Steve Kerr. I don't know if he's going to come back, and they're going to have Mike Brown as their coach. Mike Brown is this guy that
Right.
I never liked the job he did on the Cavs with LeBron.
Mm-hmm.
Then he goes to the Lakers. That's a disaster. He puts the Princeton offense in. They fire him like 5 games in the season. Goes
Right.
to the Cavs, lasts a year. He's getting paid by 3 teams at the same time, I think.
Yeah.
And he's the coach.
I like Steve Kerr a lot, but
If not-
they're
if-
coaching themselves right
If
now. They
Dave
really
Campo
are.
was coaching the Cowboys last year, would you have been frightened?
Yeah, I think it's a little different though.
Okay.
These guys are 5-7 guys. They're in sync, and they know
Yeah.
it's like coaching an all-star team at this point. I think
So could you coach the Warriors?
I could coach them
It's
to
somewhere between you and Mike Brown.
at least 12.5 wins. Is there any value in these Bucks Raptors? Raptors minus 600, Bucks plus 425 for the series.
I think the Raptors figured out the Bucks, unfortunately.
All right, Grizzlies 10-1 odds.
No.
Nope, let's stay away.
Clippers are done. I mean, if
Utah
you're going to...
Clippers plus 315.
The Clippers are done.
They're done.
They died last night.
So one of these game 5s is going to lose, I think, tonight. Home teams.
I would say the Hawks Wizards.
Hawks are plus 170.
That's to me, that's a toss-up. I
Okay.
think those 2 teams are even. That's going to be a game 7.
right.
And the odds in the game 7 will probably be like Hawks minus 140 or plus 140 in Washington, something
In
like
game
that.
7, right.
Wizards will be like a 4-point favorite.
Yeah,
That'd be my
that's
guess.
smart. And then your Celtics, it's plus 380 if you like the Bulls. And Rondo's coming back for game 6.
So we did before the playoffs. We did a Spurs, Cavs.
Celtics,
Who's the third
Wizards.
team? Oh, I forgot that Wizards were 13. Damn.
We need to start figuring out how to get
And
out
the
of that
Celtics
one.
were plus 230 going into game 3
Yes.
after the Rondo thing, and we had some texts about it. And House was like, "I want to hedge," and
Yeah.
I was like, "No, I don't trust this." And I'm just terrible. I'm just bad at this.
It was.
turns out.
I loved listening to you with Francesa because this was before Rondo announced the injury and they were down 2-0. And you didn't want to talk about the Celtics, and he didn't want to talk about the Knicks, and you guys forced each other.
He just kept bringing
Yeah.
me back to the Celtics.
brutality.
Let's talk about the Celtics one more time.
So good. Well, that's it. That's the NBA.
That's it. How about NHL?
You don't like. You're now on this thing where my team got beat by Ottawa, and Ottawa stinks, and we're going to take whoever's playing Ottawa.
No, I just didn't think Ottawa was very good. It was a really banged up Bruins team, and they almost pulled that series out. I was not impressed. So Edmonton is 7-1 to win the cup. I watched at least 2 different stretches of 2 different games where they were just breathtaking.
Right.
Like they looked like the 81-82 Oilers with the early Gretzky Oilers. And not that that's going to last, but I don't know, man. The history of hockey with these transcendent guys in the early stages, they always do it like a couple years before you think they're going to do it.
Right.
And I wonder with McDavid if he makes it.
This could be it.
He's unbelievable.
He's fun to watch.
I mean, he's definitely the best new guy that's come in since Mario, I think.
Yeah.
So, and they have a bunch of other good guys. But yeah, I
Yeah.
think the Caps Pens is if that's how it plays out, that is going to be one of the funniest sports subplots. The Capitals are so beaten down, the fans, they're so beaten down by that team and all the playoff history.
yeah.
And the Penguins have throttled them all these different times. And it's
Poor
just
Joe House. It could be a bad couple weeks for him coming up.
we could have
Wizards.
Wiz Celtics though. If
What do you mean?
If
Oh, yeah.
If both teams can just win 2 more, our teams, we've never known each other.
Really?
We've had a Wiz Celtics
Wow.
series. Yeah.
That'd be
Hasn't happened
great.
since 84.
Oh, good. Oh,
Yeah.
you're gonna have to him out for that.
I'm probably flying back for that one.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
It'll be a good one.
Yeah, the hockey. It's round 2, and Ducks are minus 130 over Oilers. Predators minus 135. Predators favored 135 over the Blues. Caps 135 over the Penguins, and Rangers minus 150. So close.
Should they even put money odds
No,
on
probably
hockey
not.
series? It
No.
should just be each one should just be a pick 'em.
Exactly. A pick 'em, and you could bet if the game's going to go to overtime or not, and that's also a pick 'em.
And most of them do. Or some of them do.
That first round it almost set a record for overtime games.
So the most fun series in round 2 is Edmonton versus Anaheim.
Yeah. The Ducks seem to screw us every turn, right?
God, I hate the Ducks. I'm so violently on the Oilers bandwagon.
Right.
We might have to bet that just so I can even care more than I already do. I hate the
Good
Ducks.
Lord.
So is there gonna be a writer's strike?
I kind of feel there is. And I feel like there was 96% came back with yes.
That seems definitive.
8-9 years ago was 90% was yes.
Yeah.
How do they why would they report a low number? Are those numbers
You're
fixed?
gonna report the good number.
Yeah. The Russians got involved in this.
I hated the writer's strike 10 years ago, but this
Now
one
you're
seems
into
a
it.
lot more. Nah, it seems a lot more defensible.
It makes sense.
Yeah, I think you strike when you have to. And in this case, the whole business model has changed, and the writers it's not as
Right.
beneficial for them. It's clear.
There
You
was
look at
no
all the
Netflix.
different-
There was like a whole medium not around. It was streaming back in 08 when we made the
Right.
last contract. So
There was no 7-episode shows and
nothing. Yeah.
all that stuff.
I
So-
remember I lost a lot of money gambling during the writer's strike.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. Like,
I wish you could bet on the writer's strike, like over under 17 and a half days, or will it happen? Like just to hedge, because I'm
Joe Fuentes enjoyed that
what,
one.
Joe,
He's
what do you
just
think?
shaking his head.
Stand to lose a
Joe's
lot of
in.
cash here.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you, because last time this happened,
Right.
it was during football season, wasn't it?
It was, it started like Thanksgiving, Halloween, and ended on Valentine's Day. So yeah, it went 100
Because we were
days.
doing the podcast. I had the podcast by then. We were doing
Right.
the podcast.
Ah.
And you were in a very dark place.
That was the
You were
closest.
you were on weird football internet sites. Like you were so far into the football abyss because you had nothing else to do.
It was so
You only
bad.
had like one kid at that point too, right?
Yeah,
Did you
the
have two
second
kids
one,
yet?
I popped out the second one right as the strike ended. So I had to
Right.
go right back to work when the baby was born.
See
The
you
wife
later.
was delighted. She was already had it.
So you had
with
one
me.
kid, you had a writer's strike,
Yeah.
and
I know.
football.
It's crazy
This time
times.
around, you get the 2 playoffs. Mm-hmm. So my guess is that it'll get solved pretty
You think it
quickly.
will?
Yeah, I do. I do.
right.
I think last time it was so beneficial for Hollywood to kind of blow up the infrastructure. This time around, they're about to have the upfronts. You really want to have a strike during the upfronts?
And there's not going to be a ton of sympathy either for the Hollywood writers. I mean,
So yeah, it's like
we may have to live with our nannies. It could be terrible.
Netflix is giving all these people $20 million comedy
Yeah.
specials, and they're bragging about how they're going to spend $1 billion on content and all this
Right.
stuff. It's a pretty tough case.
Yeah, I know. It's interesting.
Yeah, I kind of feel the opposite as I did last time. I think it's justified.
All right,
cuz maybe we'll have you more in podcast form
Can you imagine?
on the Ringer.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah, let's have a
See
conversation
what
off the air
happens.
about that.
All right.
All right, Leonard Fournette minus 430
Over 4.
over 4 minus 430, and Watson was what? 12 and a half?
Watson is 12 and a half. The over is plus 110. Under is minus 120.
I also think San Antonio can beat Houston, and I think it's now a stay away for me.
Oh,
Heading into the playoffs, I was like, I'm banging Houston in. I don't think Harden's been the same since he got hurt.
Really?
Like with 3 weeks to go, he didn't play well. Houston didn't play well in that series. OKC was terrible.
I think OKC
They were awful.
really screws you up in terms of predicting the next round. Like they could be really a lot worse than we thought.
Yeah, and Houston, 1-4, but 1-5, but barely beat them. So,
Yeah.
interesting. I don't think that's great. All right, Cuz, good job. by
Good
you.
job by you.
Before we get to Andre Ward, if you're wondering how to get the funding needed to run a small business today, Cabbage has the answer. Cabbage helps small business owners access simple, flexible funding right away without the headaches that come with applying for a traditional loan. Apply online or from your phone by securely linking your business information to get an automatic decision. No waiting in line, scanning documents, or tracking down financial statements. And once you are approved, you choose when to use your funds, how much to take. You'll only pay for the funds you actually use. Cabbage, that's Cabbage with a K, Cabbage, has supported over 100,000 small businesses with $2.9 billion in funding. Wow. Visit cabbage.com/BS. If you listen to this podcast, and obviously you're listening, cabbage.com/BS. There is no cost to apply or set up your line of credit. And guess what? As a BS podcast listener, when you qualify for funding, oh yeah, you'll get a $100 Visa gift card that you can use anywhere. But you have to go to cabbage.com KABBAGE.com/BS. That is cabbage with a K, KABBAGE.com/BS. And I should mention this Andre Ward interview that you're about to hear. When we taped it, Marshawn Lynch was not officially a Raider yet, and now he is. So when we talk about that, that's why it seems like we're wondering if it's going to happen, because it's a taped interview. But it is still really good, and he has a big fight coming up with Kovalev. The sequel, we talk about that. We talk about Oakland. We talk about a whole bunch of stuff. Andre Ward coming up right now. Andre Ward, undefeated, never lost. You've never lost, right?
Never lost as a professional. My last loss was probably 14, 15 years ago.
Amateur? I thought you were undefeated as an amateur.
No. I'm about 115-5.
Oh.
It's just been a while.
It's been a while. So 2002?
How long? Correction, 20 years.
20 years.
I honestly don't keep track of stuff like that.
Yeah,
like
so you were like a kid when you lost.
I was a baby. And I still remember how I felt. It was
Who'd you lose to?
a young man from Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
Yeah.
Silver Gloves, national tournament in the finals. What's the kid's name? Oh, yeah, John Revish. The taste of defeat is still in my mouth.
Decision or
The decision, very close
knockout?
fight. You know, we call those fights back, you know, at that age, 11, 12 years old, 13 years old, smokers. They go so quick. They're three either 1 minute round fights or 3 minute and a half round fights. So you're kind of just slugging it out, and it can go either way. So he won. He got me. But I had to fly all the way back from Kansas City back to Oakland, and I didn't like the way that felt.
What is youth boxing where people are flying from cross country for fights?
The biggest.
I had no idea this happened.
The biggest national tournament of the year was before you make it to Golden Gloves, which a lot of people are familiar with.
Yeah.
There was a Silver Gloves.
Yeah.
And my, only time, during the year I get to see snow, obviously coming from the West Coast, and the best competition from around the world, and it's your opportunity to get this beautiful silver belt to kind of stake your claim as the best in that age group in the nation.
How old were you when you were like, I want to do this?
I was 10 years old.
Okay.
My first love was baseball. I was a pitcher and a shortstop. And my father, Frank Ward, he didn't tell me that he boxed. And then he started to kind of tell me about his rivalries and how I said, whoa, you boxed? He's like, yeah, I just didn't tell you. I'm like, that's a big thing. Like, so as soon as he told me that, I wanted to fight. My dad had 15 amateur fights. He was a heavyweight. He was 15-0. And at that time, he had a boxing program or a boxing team at his high school in the 60s. So once he did that, I put baseball down and I picked up the sport of boxing.
But you played a little football in high school too,
I did.
right?
Yeah,
I noticed that.
I did. Little tailback, little strong safety.
Yeah, I mean, you're such a good athlete in the ring. I'm sure you could have done whatever sport you wanted.
Yeah, I often wonder about it too because, at the time when I was in high school, I was burnt out with boxing.
Yeah.
I've been doing it. Like I had a good childhood, but I didn't have a normal childhood. I didn't go home and drop the backpack and go outside. I had to do homework and then get ready to go to a boxing gym, And my brother at that time, Jonathan, he boxed with me, and that helped because boxing is a lonely sport.
Yeah.
It's not the team sport. It's not the camaraderie. It's not all that stuff.
It's like tennis, but you're getting hit.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. That's a good comparison. And, I just got to the point when I was a freshman in high school, I was like, I don't want to do it. And, I started doing track, did a little track, ran the mile, ran the, 4x4 relay, those kind of things, played a little football. Then it got to the point where I started getting a few looks for strong safety, but it was either, okay, going to my senior year.
I totally would have guessed strong safety.
Yeah.
That makes sense to me.
Yeah.
So you were thinking about it.
Yeah, oh yeah. So I started getting a look from Oregon and Boise, not a scholarship, but just a look. They let us know that I was on their radar. So I either had to put on 25 pounds of muscle and commit fully or go back and try to make a run at the Olympics. And I was just starting to get the itch again because I had taken 2 years off. And I went back, and here we are.
2004, you won the gold?
2004, Athens, Greece. I won the gold. Shocked a lot of people. I wasn't touted as being that guy, but and it really I'd done a lot, in America, and I fought a few top countries in what we call dual meets, kind of one-offs. But I never won a world championship, a Pan American championship, and certainly not had never been to the Olympics. So it was a first, and a lot of people didn't see it coming.
And that seems to be a recurring theme for you, though, because when you beat Kessler, he was favored. What was that? 09?
Yeah.
That Showtime tournament that I thought was a great idea, and the problem was, it was just too hard to keep guys in the tournament. Guys kept getting hurt, dropping out. Which
is to be expected. I mean, in retrospect, it actually wasn't as bad as it seemed in the moment.
Yeah.
You had a couple guys fall out, maybe 2 out of the 6 guys, which wasn't too crazy. In the moment, it seemed like the end of the world. It seemed like the tournament was never going to end.
Yeah.
But they replaced those 2 guys. The tournament continued, and obviously it came to a crescendo with me and a guy named Carl Froch from Nottingham, England.
He was a badass.
Yeah, he was good. And, I was fortunate to beat him. I won the whole thing. And
I may or may not have wagered on you in the Kessler fight.
Say it again?
I may or may not have wagered on you in the Kessler fight.
Man.
Because there was a little too much Kessler love. I wasn't totally buying it.
Yeah.
Froch was tough, though, because I was afraid of that guy.
He's a good fighter.
He was good.
So that's the thing. Like, people think you got to discredit guys.
Yeah.
To make yourself look better. Like, those guys are the real deal, and you got to rise to the occasion to beat them. Like, if I wasn't on point, I wouldn't have beat him.
Right.
If I wasn't on point, I wouldn't have beat Kessler.
What was your best performance against one of the top guys? Because you've had probably, I would say 6 or 7 where you fought 6 or 7 guys that were just like way up there when you fought them. You beat all of them.
I'd probably say Kessler.
Yeah.
Because going into the tournament,
you rigged that one though. You had a hometown crowd.
Yeah, but he asked for it.
Smart.
He asked for it.
He thought he was in a sports movie.
Yeah.
I want to go there.
He asked for it, and that's the thing. Like,
he saw Rocky IV. He saw Rocky want to fight in Russia. He thought it was a good idea.
He did, and he overestimated or underestimated coming to the Bay Area and coming to Oakland. And I mean, the guy had more knockouts. I'm talking about Mikhail Kessler. He had more knockouts than I even had fights.
Right.
So there was no reason that he would think that this young kid with 17, 18 fights would pose a problem. So he said, yeah, I'll fight him. I'll fight him the first fight in the tournament, and I'll fight him in his hometown. And it didn't turn out too good. I got my first world title, and I liked that performance the most because, like, that was a sink or swim moment.
Yeah.
Like, I had to show what I was made of. All the talk aside, all the potential aside, like, I had to show up or I was going to the back of the line, and that was a bad time.
And you were in a brutal division, too. That was one of the best divisions.
Like, that 168-pound division, which we call super middleweight.
Yeah.
That was like murderer's row.
It really was for like 3-4 years.
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
As deep as it got.
That's why I feel like the tournament was necessary. There's no way we would have fought that amount of good fights back to back without being forced to in the tournament. Like,
I love the tournament. Plus, Gus Johnson was announcing at least a few of them.
Yeah.
And he was, I
Gus is
like
my boy,
him. Yeah, Gus gets excited.
Yeah, Gus gets excited.
I'm so mad that he doesn't do March Madness. I feel like the president needs to intervene or something to try to fix that. When you fight in front of, like, you fought in front of your home crowd a bunch of times.
Yep.
It would make sense to me, like in basketball, that the home crowd helps somebody, and in baseball, people are making noise. They do it for both sides. I never know how much it helps. Football, I don't know how much it helps. Hockey, it definitely helps a little. How does it help in boxing when you're so trapped in the moment and you just, it's like this, you're in this chess match with this other guy? Do you even hear the crowd?
Yeah, you hear them. You kind of hear them fading in and fading out. It's kind of weird. Like being in a boxing ring can almost be like an out-of-body experience. Like,
yeah.
It's crazy. Like, when they say it's time to walk to the ring, like, you got to really stay focused and be very mindful that you're the guy that's performing. Like, you can't become a spectator. And it's easy to start to drift and be like, whoa, there's a lot of people here.
Yeah.
You got to remind yourself that, okay, hold on, they're here to see me. I got to stay focused and stay locked in, even more so at home.
Yeah.
And people, they always act like fighting at home is a given. But for me, it's actually probably more pressure leading up to the fight.
Well, you got to worry about tickets for everybody, all that stuff.
You got cousins you didn't know you had. You got aunts and uncles. And then the aunts and uncles and cousins you do have, they're coming out of the woodworks. You haven't talked to them in a long time. And, hey, just getting ready to call you. And that's pressure.
Yeah.
Then everybody expects you to perform. It's one thing for somebody to not believe you're going to do it and want to prove them wrong. That's one set of circumstances. But for people to expect you to do well, expect you to put on for your city and do it at a high level, that's a lot of pressure.
So the major benefit would be if you win after you win, it's just like
That's the beautiful
love
thing.
fest. Yeah.
Now, if you get through all of that and you don't, allow yourself to get caught up to the point to where you do something stupid and you're too aggressive, or, you kind of get subdued in the moment and you don't perform, if you can kind of toe that line, it's the best feeling in the world.
Yeah.
You hoist your belt up, the fans are going crazy, you're on the ring road. I mean, just everything is just the way you dreamed it. It's a perfect scenario post-fight when you're
So
fighting
you
at
can't
home.
really like you hit somebody, they're a little staggered, they fall back, and the crowd's like, ah! You don't even hear that. You're just thinking like, I'm getting
Nah,
this
you
guy.
hear it. You hear it.
Okay.
It takes discipline not to run in there and do something that you
Go
typically
crazy,
wouldn't do.
throw 20 punches.
But it's pressure, but it is an extra surge of juice and energy, man. You want to go out there and you want to show out. So, you got to entertain and give the people what they came to see, but you got to do it within the confines that you normally do it in, if that makes sense.
Do you wish fights were 12 rounds, less or more?
Well, they used to be 15.
I know. That's why I'm asking. By the way, I'm boxing since I'm 47.
Yeah.
Ali was like my first guy.
Yes.
Wild World of Sports 75. So I've been through everything. Then Sugar Ray Leonard was my
Golden
guy, and all the way
eras,
through.
yeah.
And 13, 14, 15 was when a lot of these fights swung.
Yeah.
Leonard doesn't beat Hearns if it doesn't go 15.
That's right.
And now it's 12.
Yeah.
And I felt like with Hagler Leonard, actually, that was one of the first ones where I felt like, man, if this was 15, I don't think Leonard could beat him.
Yeah.
Like, Leonard had trained for 12. He was trying to steal rounds at the end. But
And he had been off, so
And he'd been
it was
way
smart
off.
for him.
Yeah,
He negotiated 12 rounds because he knew, like, look, I'm a little older.
Yeah.
I got this big layoff. 12 is probably all I need.
But what do you think is the right number of rounds to know who's better in a fight?
I mean, there's a part of me as a competitor, and obviously I was a little younger during that era, but watching the older fights that you just talked about, like, there's a part of me that wanted to be a part of that and
Yeah.
would want to be a part of
The
that 15
15
rounds just to see how I would respond, because I know, like, things get real in 10, 11, 12, much less 13, 14, and 15. But then it's 2017, man. We have a lot more knowledge and understanding about, our mental health,
Yeah.
our physical health. Probably for my physical health, 12 rounds is enough.
Well, that would be like 3 rounds.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the Kovalev fight, you got rocked.
Mm-hmm.
And then that fight's still going, that's still going, and we're so fearful of concussions and all these other sports, and yet with boxing, it's like, well, what can you do? That's boxing. The whole point
commonplace.
is to hit the other guy in the head.
Yeah. It's commonplace.
I don't know how we fix that, and I haven't really been able to fully reconcile it as a boxing fan.
It's tough.
Because in football it bothers me, and in hockey it bothers me, and in boxing it doesn't. I don't know why.
I mean, if you look at boxing, if you look at the NFL, it's obviously a physical sport. It's a dangerous sport. It's a high collision sport. You look at boxing. Obviously, our brains are not made to be hit
Yep.
by other people repeatedly, for 36 minutes, which a 12-round fight is. And then you have to count all the training and the preparation leading up to it. People don't realize that we actually spar, like,
Oh, yeah.
live rounds.
You could train your body to just take hits.
Literally, like 3 days a week. And
Yeah.
sometimes you go in there and you're not feeling the best. You're still tired from the day before. And you got to spar 2-3. You got 2-3 hungry guys licking their chops,
Yeah.
trying to make a name for themselves. So even the best of us who may be defensive and elusive, you're still taking punishment to some degree. I think part of the answer is just having an awareness and taking advantage of what is there. Like, I have a hyperbaric chamber. I know
Smart.
what, my
I would
mental
have one,
state
but I'm
is.
not an athlete. I would. Yeah, everybody
If you
swears
can
by
get
it.
one, you should get one.
Well, Kobe was like the first one, and that's when I knew something was up when Kobe got involved.
Yeah, 'cause he's not gonna
Kobe's
get something that-
5 years
yeah.
ahead of everybody.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I did the research and I made the investment, and that's what I feel it is. It's an investment for the here and now, but then obviously for my future. I mean, if I spar and even though the technology is where it is in terms of knowledge of concussions and how to deal with concussions and mental health, boxing is still decades behind.
Yeah.
It's an old sport. So what we found out to be a mild concussion or just a concussion, we say is, oh, you got buzzed. Oh, shake it off. So
Well,
now,
that's part of what makes you great is when certain guys get buzzed, they don't know what to do, and that's it. But the really good guys, they know how to handle it. They'll they'll get in the clinch. They'll move around.
yeah.
Leonard was great at that. I mean, the Leonard Hearns fight. Hearns was, I think, the lost guy from that generation.
Yeah.
but he never totally knew what to do when he got
Yeah,
buzzed.
yeah.
That was
He
like
was
his
either going to
downfall.
get you or you were going to
Yeah,
get
yeah,
him.
yeah. It was one or the other.
But just to finish up what I was saying, I think, it's just like at 33, if I take a good shot in sparring, nobody will know. But I mark that on the board and say, okay. And then I got to go through my paces.
Yeah.
I got to make sure that I'm taking my brain food, omegas, and different things like that help. I got to sit in that hyperbaric chamber. I may have to sit in there 2 hours tonight instead of an hour. Just things like that where, like, part of you doesn't want to acknowledge it. You just want to kind of sweep it under the rug. But I've got to be on top of this because nobody's going to be on top of it for me. And the beautiful thing is even though personally I have this knowledge, I don't feel like I'm reluctant. I don't feel like I'm shying away from contact. It's just that I'm a little bit wiser and a little bit smarter about, the sport that I'm in and the damage you can take.
That's one of the things I respect about Floyd, who takes a lot of shit for his choices with fights and stuff. But Floyd's been hit less than any great fighter ever, I feel like. I can't
Which
even
is a
remember
good thing.
10 times when he got tagged.
Right.
You don't have that same luxury because of your division. I mean, now you're light heavyweight, but it's just Floyd can do that at a lower division. I don't think once you get bigger, it's just too hard.
Well, I think you can. I just think me and him got slightly different styles. Like,
But people wouldn't pay for it though.
yeah, well,
If you're just gonna do laps and,
that's what I'm saying.
jabs and stuff, it
Floyd
wouldn't work.
naturally is, he boxes more than me. He moves more than me. I like the contact.
Hey, newsflash, you're much more fun to pay for if I'm paying for a fight.
I didn't say that. You said
Floyd,
that.
I'll say it. You won't say it. Floyd, 90% of his fights, you say afterwards,
Yeah.
he's amazing, but I kind of wish I didn't get that one.
Well, I will say this in Floyd's defense. I think that Floyd gets a bad rap. Like, I understand what people are saying to a degree, and he's even admitted some things. He said, certain fights maybe weren't that exciting. But, like, for me, like, I appreciate the bruiser, but I appreciate a dude who literally can neutralize your strengths and take away your best asset.
He's amazing.
Yeah, I love it.
I've seen him in person twice, and it was interesting. I went to the Canelo fight, and it was by the fourth round. It's like, Canelo could fight this guy 20 times, and he will never beat Floyd.
probably true.
It will never happen. He's just too fast for him, and his little angles and all that stuff. I gotta say, I'm starting to feel that way about Lomachenko. Lomachenko is from every angle. He's so fast and
Good fighter.
I don't know. The guy he fought on Saturday never
Sosa?
had a chance. Yeah, and I think he's gonna have trouble getting fights. I'm sure he'll fight anybody, but you go in that, you look bad. Then what happens?
Yeah, guys know. Like, guys know instinctively. They can say whatever they want to the press. They can say whatever they want on their social media. But guys know if that guy's going to give me trouble. And there's plenty of ways to shy away from a big fight if you don't want it.
Right.
And so he's like, guys got to really count the cost when they fight top-level guys. And a guy like Lomachenko being one, like, do I really want to? Is this extra 100,000 or 150,000 really worth what I'm getting ready to go through? And he's that good.
That was Hagler was like that when I was growing up. There was this 4-year stretch when nobody would fight him. And
Because
then
it's going to be a long night.
Then they fixed the time he did win he fought Antifuermo, whatever his name was.
Yeah.
It turned out to be like a draw. It was a joke.
Yeah.
Then he goes to England. He finally wins the title. They throw bottles at him. I love
Sad.
Hagler. It was
Never
a
fully
bummer.
got his just due.
No.
Workman-like fighter. You know when you're going to fight him. Bring your lunch pail. It's just one of those types of nights, and it's tough. And it's interesting because if I'm not mistaken, after the Ray Leonard fight, he never fought again.
No, he went to Italy.
Like, never fought again.
He was so mad that he didn't get the decision.
And he's still bitter about it. You can see.
He's 100% still mad.
You can see
Don't bring it up to
interviews.
him.
I've seen people bring up interviews. His whole countenance changes, and it's like, whoa! Like, this dude is still not okay with this.
Well, because he knew Leonard was never going to fight him again either. To me, that's the most polarizing fight of all time. Although the one you had with Kovalev has turned into a pretty polarizing too. With some people are just like, Hagler won. Give me a break. Leonard did not do enough. You got to take the title to be the champ. All that stuff. And then I just feel like Hagler was off the whole fight. He was always off balance. Leonard was always fighting whoever Leonard wanted to do, and then Leonard was coming in and stealing rounds. And I just didn't think Hagler did enough.
It was a showmanship.
It was. He won the crowd, sense of the moment. He won the judges.
Yep.
It was like you're in fear the whole time. It's like, oh God, he's gonna get killed.
But because of that, you were also rooting for him. Like when they did Legendary Nights, HBO, I mean,
Great show.
love it. I think it was
Yeah.
like 30 minutes, and it's like I've watched it 100 times, and every time I watch it, I'm on the edge of my seat. The stars and the A-list celebrities were like, they respected Hagler, but they're pulling for Ray. Like, Ray, we don't want you to get killed. We love you. And then it was like, Ray's in it. He might win this. And then like all of that stuff plays into the minds of the judges. You
And
know,
Ray was smart. He waited for Hagler till after the Mugabe
Yes.
fight. Mugabe and Hagler beat the crap out of each other. Ray's like, okay, now I'm ready to fight him. I feel like Canelo's doing that with Triple G a little bit. Triple D, he's now 37. This last fight he had
Is he
was
that old?
Yeah, he's 37. Or no, it's 34. I'm sorry.
he's getting up
34.
there. Yeah.
34 that allegedly.
Yeah.
Who knows? But his last fight he didn't look that great. And if I'm Canelo, I'm like, wait, one more year. It'll be 35.
When you're in the driver's seat and you got a name, like
Yeah.
in Ray Leonard's case, he knew that he could just make a phone call and, you know, he could get right back in the mix. Same thing with Canelo. He's got a country behind him. He's paid his dues. And he knows that, yeah, you got some buzz, but you really need me if you want that mega fight. It's smart. It's chess.
It's smart.
You know,
Canelo, the Canelo Chavez fight is a smart one.
Yeah.
Cinco de Mayo, 2 Mexican fighters.
Huge fight for Mexico.
It'll be great.
Yeah.
That's a great, and then that'll take him, he buys himself more time, and then Triple G will still be sitting there. The Kovalev fight after that first one, which I want to talk about, was there a rematch clause?
Yeah, there's a rematch clause.
Okay.
But there didn't need to be. Like,
You wanted him again.
what other fight am I going to take? There's no other fight that interests me that I can think of. There's no other light
You
heavyweight
talking about financially or competitively?
competitively.
Yeah.
Like, I got a track record, you know, and I'm not saying I'm the toughest guy on the block or anything like that, but like I have a track record where we've consistently fought the best since I've turned professional. Of course, there's places for tune-up fights, guys that, you know, are top contenders, maybe not championship caliber, but once we have our tune-ups, we always kind of look for the best to give the fans the matchups that they're asking for, but then also to continue to, you know, cement a legacy. My legacy is important to me. So once I made up my mind that, okay, you know, I want to fight again, a rematch with him was just academic.
Can I tell you what I thought as a big boxing fan who followed your career? I didn't think you were going to take another big fight. Like when you had those layoffs.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it was like 2012, you beat Dawson, and then you didn't fight for like another 14 months. You got hurt in the Dawson fight or after? What was the injury after Dawson?
It was a combination of injury, and we fought, a lawsuit, and then we fought. So it was like, should have had 4 to 6 fights in 2 years, and I had 2.
Right.
So just off and on, stop
like,
and go.
Yeah, you fought like one fight in like 2.5 years, maybe?
Yeah, it was, yeah. I hit a stretch.
At that point, I was just thinking, like, I was just trying to put myself in your shoes, because I think one of the things that really kills boxers is that the training and just the grind. And it's like, you know, basketball players aren't any different. I remember Nash when he was near the end, Steve Nash.
Yeah.
We were doing the finish line with him for Grantland, and we were talking about, you know, it's not that he couldn't play. It was that his body was breaking down, but it was also the process to get to stay in shape. And when we would talk about Dirk and be like, how long is Dirk going to play? And he'd be like, Dirk could play till he's 50, shooting threes, corner threes. So he'd be like, just put him in the corner, he'd be fine. It would be a question of whether he wants to put in the work in July, August, September, October. And as you said with boxing, it's the loneliest sport. You're always on yourself to try to train. Yep. So I thought watching from afar, I was like, oh man, I think he's done. Yeah. But then you came back. Yeah. But did you think, were you close to being done?
Yeah, I was close to being done.
Yeah.
I mean, I had written a retirement speech.
Yeah.
That I saved on my phone, and, you know, one day when the biography comes out, you know, we'll put it in there. But it's, you know, it's raw emotions. I think it was in 2014. I was up late one night or early one morning. And, you know, I just wanted to leave on my terms. It wasn't that the desire wasn't there. I actually had more desire than I ever had because I was, you know, not able to fight against my will.
Yeah.
So the desire was there, just I wasn't able to, and I didn't want to go out on anyone else's terms. I felt like I had given too much of my childhood, too much of my life, too much sacrifice to just allow somebody to kind of stamp me out the game. If I'm going to be out of the game, I want to do it on my own terms. And thankfully, man, by the grace of God, I got through that season, learned a lot. It was a necessary fight. I don't regret it. I needed to go through that, and I came out better on the other side.
Let's take a quick break to talk about Sonos. If you want to experience TV, movies, and music with sound you can feel, from a speaker you'll hardly notice Well, guess what? Playbase from Sonos gives you just that. Its low-profile design practically disappears beneath your TV, and yet it fills your entire viewing room with epic home theater audio. I just want to say that for years and years, we'd never really figured out home theater audio, and I fell down that road. I know some friends that did, and never totally satisfied. Things would break right away. They've now mastered it. Check out Sonos, movies, sports, TV shows, gaming, whatever you got. The slim, low-profile Playbase adds dynamic, pulse-pounding sound to what's ever playing on your TV. It even streams your favorite music when it's off. It was created for TVs that sit on stands and furniture. No wall mount required. One power cord, one optical cord is all it takes. I love easy setup stuff. The Sonos app guides you through every step of the setup. Playbase securely supports TVs up to 75 pounds, which covers just about any TV that comes with its own stand, and it works with almost all TV cable box universal remotes. The remotes you have are all you need. Everything sounds better on Playbase. See for yourself. Go to Sonos.com to learn more. That's Sonos.com. I should mention, I showed a picture of my setup in my office on Friday when I had the Celtics, Red Sox, and Bruins games all going on at the same time. And a couple of people got mad that I had the wires exposed. Like I'm some sort of rookie. My nephew's looking at me, Kyle. Like I'm some sort of rookie, some amateur that doesn't know that you don't leave the wires exposed. The problem is we're renting an office here in our building, and I can't put the wires into the wall because I can't really mess up the walls. So I'm well aware of the whole wire thing. I don't want you guys to think that I would ever take something like hiding the wires. Not seriously. Please don't think that. I've been hiding wires since people didn't even know you could hide wires. I'm like one of the original wire hiders. That's it. That's all I had to say about that. And good thing about Sonos, you don't have to hide the wires on Sonos. Just put it this Playbase thing. You just put it under your TV and there you go. Playbase from Sonos. Check it out, Sonos.com. All right, here's Andre Ward.
Do you think that if you had had somebody, like let's say Floyd's 25, 30 pounds heavier, and you have somebody to measure yourself against, you know, like basically the Bird and Magic corollary of those two guys are just constantly measuring themselves against each other. And now I think you're seeing it happen in the NBA too. Like Curry gets all this attention. Durant goes to Golden State. Westbrook's like, nah, I want to be, and Harden's over there. And all these guys are making each other better. When you don't have somebody like that, especially as a boxer, do you kind of lose interest a little bit?
Not really for me, because I feel like my path has been unique. You know, I feel like, you know, nothing was ever given to me or my team. You know, I feel like, you know, we didn't get any handouts.
Yeah.
Even coming in through the front door is what we like to call it when you got a gold medal and an amateur pedigree. You know, it was always a question mark. Well, is he tough enough? You know, does he have a chin? Is he going to make it? So I've never had a lack of motivation, ever. You know, even, you know, during my highest moments, you know, those asterisks and those question marks have always motivated me. So I've never gotten complacent in the game. You know, even during the lean seasons when, you know, wasn't much going on, you know, I seem to always have something to fight for.
Yeah. All right, Kovalev, how many times have you watched it?
I haven't watched it.
Really? Not once?
And it's driving my wife crazy. It's driving my coach crazy. Just, I'm not interested in watching it right now. I mean, I got 8 to 10 weeks to watch it. I was there. Like, I know what happened.
How much do you remember from it, though?
Everything.
Okay.
I mean, I'm sure once I pop it in, we're not doing VHSs anymore, but once we turn it on, like, I'll see certain things, like, you know, and studying it, knowing what happened because I fought, and then actually studying it is two different things. But I got plenty of time to do that.
I'm not saying this because you were here, because you're here, because I actually said it on the podcast, whatever podcast I did after the fight. I thought it was kind of a genius performance by you because you kind of solved Kovalev as the fight went along. And I don't know, his conditioning is the one thing I don't know about, whether he started to fade a tiny bit as it went along. But
I think we got an answer for that. His latest thing
the rematch?
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, the latest reason for the fading was he trained too hard.
Yeah.
He said he was overtrained. He said he was dead basically 30 days out, just couldn't tell anyone. And that was the reason. So now he's going back to his old regime, which is less work.
I don't believe that.
And he's supposed to.
I believe he thought he was going to knock you out in the first 5 rounds and emptied his tank.
Yeah.
And you waited him out. But I thought, you know, one of the reasons I've enjoyed watching you is, as I said, you kind of solve the dude as it goes along. You just kind of started moving closer. And you got a little closer and you got in and you almost neutralized his punching power by being 6 inches closer to him than he wanted you. How do you do that as it's going on? Is it all instinct? Like, I don't understand how your brain goes when that's going on.
Well, it's great coaching, number one. It's weird because
So it's a cornerman telling you that?
it's my coach, which
Yeah.
is he's my godfather, so he knows me. It's weird as athletes though, because you would think like, dude, you've been doing this most of your life. Why do you need him to remind you in the biggest moment to do the simplest thing? But you're dealing with the lights, the pressure, emotions, a lot of things, and sometimes he needs to grab you and say, look, do this, do what we trained to do, and that's what he did.
Yeah.
He didn't panic. He had a sense of urgency. He said, listen, man, Ali's been down. Sugar Ray Leonard's been down. Robinson's been down. And they all battle back. Now's your opportunity. So when he said that, I was like, whoa, this is it. This is what I dreamed of. And I knew that mid-range and in close, Kovalev has no answers. If he did, he had 10 rounds to show that he had an adjustment. He couldn't make it. So I'm sure he's going to go back to the drawing board and try to make some adjustments. But he is who he is. And at 33 years old or 34, however old he is, he's not changing.
Well, he's a wrecking ball. I mean, I think he'll be the same guy he was in that first fight. I don't know if he can adjust. I don't know if there's a plan B for him. Whereas for you, you figured out as it went along. I don't know what this is why I love this, because it's like you rarely get the rematch so soon.
Yeah.
I don't know what his chess move is to counter your chess move. Yeah. Like in the Rocky movies, Rocky had... he had a chess move every time, right? He's a little lighter in Rocky 2, Rocky 3, he goes back to the gym.
Yeah.
But like I don't know if Kovalev's a plan B kind of guy. I think he is who he is. I think he's probably just thinking I'm going to get him this time.
I think he is who he is, and I think that who he is has always been enough. And it wasn't enough the first time, and he's not taking ownership of it. So that's like 101. If you're going to change and get better, even myself, like I got to go watch that film and I got to be honest with myself about where he was successful, why he was successful, and what I wasn't doing. I can't blame Virgil, my coach. I can't blame the training camp. We can always tweak things, but I got to be honest, and that's how I'm going to get better and improve. And I just don't think he's doing that. And I think the arrogance that he shows and the way he carries himself is going to be his downfall in this rematch.
There's not a lot of love lost. I love when people say that in sports, but it really does seem like you guys don't like each other, which I enjoy.
I mean, I think it's real. I don't hate the guy. Like, that's too far for me. He may hate me, but I don't, it's not that serious. At the end of the day, I want this man to go home to his family, get his check, and enjoy his life, and I want to do the same. But we got business to handle.
You might hate him in 10 weeks as we get close.
Strong dislike.
Strong dislike. A loathing.
Yeah, I'll take that. Listen, I got a thing with bullies, man.
Yeah.
I got a thing with bullies. I just do. I don't appreciate it. I don't like it. And I feel like I've seen too many of them in my career and life. And, I relish the moment to face them.
I forgot to thank you because I won money on that fight.
Really?
Me and cousin Sal, we parlayed you. When was that fight? What month was it?
November.
I think we parlayed you with a football team.
Really?
We like doing these boxing. Yeah, we parlayed you with somebody.
It's funny.
And,
people look at me.
I gotta be honest. I was nervous after like round 4.
A lot of people were. We came back to the locker room after the fight, and I looked at my family. I said, "Were you guys nervous?" And they were like, "Oh my God, never do that again."
Yeah.
And they were like, "Boxing is serious." I was like, "I've been telling you guys." But they never seen me knocked down before.
Right.
So it took that kind of moment for them to kind of see. But I learned a lot about myself, and I knew I was tough. I knew I had the grit and determination. But I thank God, man, because I feel like he lifted me off that canvas and gave me that drive to go do what I did. And in that moment, when you get hit in the mouth, especially early, you're either going to pack it in and try to survive, or you're going to try to go get it back. And
it's a polarizing decision. I watched it live, and I thought it was 6 rounds to 6. Mm-hmm. I watched it a second time. I can't remember what round it was, but it was like I had either 6-6. I was trying to talk myself into a 7th round for you, but it was tight.
It was tight.
That was a really hard thing to score. But I do feel like sometimes you got to watch this stuff and just see big picture, start to finish, and it kind of falls in your head versus going round by round.
Yeah.
And I just felt like you finished the fight better than he did the last half of it. I don't know what that means.
And that's the thing. Like, I've never disputed that it was close. It's a close fight. And I take ownership for that. Like I in my mind, okay, it shouldn't have been that close. In my mind, even though I was a challenger, I could easily say, well, I did better than you guys thought I was going to do. But the bar is even higher than that. Even though I was a challenger, like I expect to do better. And that's what I got to go back to the drawing board to do.
What were you thinking when they're reading the cards? Do you think you won? Were you like, I hope I won?
No, deep down, I felt I won, but you never know in boxing.
Yeah.
You never know until they say your name. And but I saw the scorecards eventually, and the 12th round sealed it. If I would have lost that round, I would have lost on 2 of the 3 judges' scorecards, and I would have lost a split decision or a majority
here's
decision.
the thing, Kovalev. You're fighting in America. You might want to win the 12th round.
I mean,
just some friendly advice.
That's some friendly advice, but then even take the America piece out of it. Like, this is the biggest fight of your life.
Yeah. Leave it all on the table.
Good training camp, bad training camp.
I think he shot his wad in the first
You gotta
5
show
rounds.
up.
I really do.
You gotta show
I think he
up.
thought he was going to knock you out in the first 5. He's like, he's not making it to the 6th.
Yep.
So this time he'll probably be a little more, he'll bring it out. So
Well, the only problem with that is we're not going to let him. We want to pick up where we left off.
Okay.
I mean, in my mind, it's going to be a
You
situation.
don't have to convince me. I'm going to bet on you again.
No, seriously. Like, it's going to be me or you.
Yeah. I hope it's not me. You definitely
It's
beat
going to
me.
be him or I.
Yeah, yeah.
Him being Kovalev.
Yeah. Is this Vegas?
Vegas, Mandalay Bay.
You didn't think about doing it in the Bay?
They wouldn't go for that.
It'd be pretty great.
He was complaining about fighting in America.
The
There's no way I could have got him to the Bay
in
Area.
the Bay.
That guy, oh my God, he's doing so much crying now that it's in America. I mean, it's no way we would have got him to the Bay.
Where do you rank in the beloved Oakland athlete scale right now? I know Marshawn
my
Lynch is 1, 2, and 3, and then it's everybody else.
I'm glad to be in the discussion, man. All those dudes are my homies.
Cool. So who is it? Who's like the inner circle? Oakland celebrity inner circle.
I mean, I'm cool with a lot of guys. I mean, we got a lot of homegrown guys too. I mean, not homegrown, but like transplants, guys like Steph. And
I'm not counting the
KD.
transplants.
You're talking about
I'm talking about the OGs.
Probably 2 of my closest guys are Marshawn and Damian Lillard, guys that I talk to on a regular basis.
Damn.
And Dame is a huge boxing fan. Like, as soon as he found out about the fight, like, dude, is that the date? I'm there. Because he missed the last one because they were in the middle of the season.
Right. He's probably mad you had Curry lead you out for that one fight.
He wouldn't say it.
Did he
though.
text you?
Nah, he didn't text me about it. He's a good dude. But I know they battle 4 or 5 times a year. So
if Beast Mode comes back to the Raiders, which it seems like it might happen,
I hope it does.
that'd be incredible. We have Mike Lombardi works for us in the Ringer, is a big football guy. He thinks that the Raiders should bring Marshawn back, but not play him until late October.
Oh my
and use him as a closer. Just last 10 weeks. Don't go 20 weeks with them. Just go like 11.
Then bring in the bruiser down
Bring
the
in the
stretch when
bruiser
everybody's
when
beat
it's getting
up,
cold.
tired.
That's a good move, right?
It kind of is.
Pay him in
Preserves
Skittles.
him. But he's probably got to knock off a little rest too.
Yeah, I'm not worried about Marshawn. I'm a huge Patriot fan. Like once a day, I thank God that they didn't hand off to him again on second down.
I'm still mad about
That's
that.
an extra Super Bowl ring for us.
Like, I don't get that.
Yeah, it was great. I loved it. You know, it's a good idea. Not giving it to the guy who is going to get at least a yard every
The
single
guy
time.
who's known for, and he
Yeah.
had 2 shots, I think.
So Marshawn, Dame Lillard, who else?
Who else?
Gary Payton,
Man,
OG.
I haven't hooked up with Gary, but I want to. Like, we know mutual people, and he'll send word through people. Hey, man, tell Dre. He's been to some fights, but I've never met Gary Payton.
KD, Draymond, Steph for the transplants, Clay.
Yeah, definitely. KD.
KD's bought in. KD loves the Bay.
Man, KD
KD went from Oklahoma City to the Bay. He loves it. I mean, think about that. He's just doing laps outside his house with his arms
right
up.
now, man.
He
I don't
loves
think he's
it.
upset. He's doing his thing. He's doing
Yeah.
his thing, and he's a huge boxing fan too. Like, he and I hooked up randomly one night. This was like during the time when I wasn't fighting and stuff, so this was like a good shot in the arm. Just checked my DM one night, and I was like, Kevin Durant? Like, we knew mutual people once again. We had never met or talked, and he just had this like paragraph, like, dude, like, look, man, I rock with you. You're my favorite fighter. I appreciate what you do in the ring, but outside the ring, blah, blah. I was like, man, this is crazy. And then we connected, man. We exchanged numbers, and the rest is history. He's a like big time superstar, but regular dude.
Maybe the Warriors can do what the Mavs did with Tony Romo. Put a jersey on you and just kind
At
of
least
try
we
you
play
out
the
for
last
one game.
or
Yeah.
something, man.
Just
You know,
Close 1-3.
Yeah, let me go with the second unit, third unit.
There's a lot of with boxing. It seems like basketball players and rappers are the two people that seem to always be trickled around in the stands. I'm sure you've heard from a lot of different ones, right? Barkley's like the biggest boxing fan on the planet.
Yeah, it's a lot of big boxing fans from every industry. It's weird.
Yeah.
But something about seeing two guys, it's not a team sport, obviously.
Yeah.
But two guys in front of the whole world, like just going mano a mano to see who's the best. Like I just think that intrigues people.
It's still the best when you're there.
The
And
atmosphere is
after,
amazing.
like touch hands and you go back and that sound, it's amazing.
I mean, obviously it's somewhat of a biased statement, but I've been to all sorts of sporting events at the highest level. There's nothing quite like boxing.
The only thing I can compare it to that I've seen personally, I've been lucky enough to go to a lot of great stuff, is a great basketball game has the same kind of vibe. When it's
Playoffs.
like a game 7.
Yeah, playoffs.
And it's like everybody does the thing. They're about to. I just spilled coffee.
It's all
on
good.
myself. It's a touch card though. Game 7, it's that same vibe where it's like, all right,
Yeah.
it's in. The crowd's into it.
Yeah.
You feel the tension.
Yeah, playoff basketball is definitely different.
Yeah.
It's
Playoff
definitely
hockey is like
different.
that too, but it's like these guys are skating around with helmets on. It's hard. You don't really feel a connection.
I've actually never been to a hockey game ever.
So, yeah, the one recurring narrative with you is that you always feel like you don't get enough respect from the media and all that
It's
stuff.
not true. I know
All
that's.
right.
I know.
I had to ask.
No, I know a guy just recently put that out. Just recently, over the last couple of days. But if people really actually listen to what I say, like,
Yeah.
there's not one time that I demanded respect. Nobody owes me anything. I'm asked about it. Like, do you think you get enough respect? And my response is I get enough respect. I get respect from the right people. I've never, that I can remember, especially recently. Maybe, I was a little younger. But it's not in me to demand anything. Nobody owes me anything. I know what I've accomplished. I feel like I kind of know where I am in terms of boxing history. But I don't demand respect. That's a narrative that Kovalev's team brought up at the press conference today, and we're just looking at him like, what? Like, where'd you guys get that?
Do you get along with Max Kellerman?
Do I?
Max
Yeah,
Kellerman?
me and Max are cool.
All right, good. I respect his opinion because I think he's seen every fight ever. All the fights, whatever fight happened, I think he's seen it over
Boxing
the last 50 years.
encyclopedia.
He really is.
Yeah,
It's
it'll
like
just flow out.
It's kind of
Like,
crazy.
fast
He's like a
talker.
savant.
Yeah.
I always feel like, I'm on the high end of boxing fans, but I'm not like the crazy message board boxing fans. But I have a good sense of all the major stuff that happened.
No, I
Max
can
is
see-
at like 900 other levels than I am.
But I can see that talking to you.
Yeah,
Like
I
if
always
somebody,
pay attention.
if somebody's just kind of doing some superficial research, and if it's something that somebody really loves and appreciates. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And it's a place for that. Everybody's not a boxing fan, but it's refreshing to see that you know your stuff.
Well, I remember. So I did 2. This is going way back, but I did 2 closed circuits. Leonard Hearns, Boston Garden,
Yeah.
and everybody was rooting for Hearns, and people were. I don't know why. I
Really?
don't know whether they bet on him. Yeah, it was like 75-25. I was so upset. And then the other one was Leonard Duran won, which almost brought me to tears because I hated Duran so much. He was such a good villain. There's nobody like that in boxing now. But I go way back.
Durant was the only guy that I ever saw that could fight with rage and anger and get away with it.
Yeah.
Like, it was genuine with him. He just didn't like you. He'd spit on you.
He hated Leonard. He wouldn't shake his hand after the first fight.
He was everything that he wasn't. He was a pretty boy. He was accepted, and Leonard came from, a tough background, but he was the golden boy.
What's your favorite Legendary Nights, by the way? Mine is the Chavez Meldrick Taylor one.
Probably, that one's painful to watch. Like,
That's why it's like haunting.
He had it.
It was over.
Oh, my
He
God.
took a beating in that fight, though. I don't know if he's the same either way after that fight.
I don't think he was.
Chavez was like the Terminator.
Yeah. I mean, 1 second?
And his head was like made out of concrete. I think he might
He
have
took
had
a lot of
concrete,
punishment. He took
concrete
it.
chip in his head.
Yeah. I mean, you knock him down every blue moon, but man, had 100 and something fights.
That's why I like Lomachenko reminds me of Chavez a little bit. Not like his style, but just like he's just moving forward all the time. And the guy's just, you can't breathe. It's like, I don't have, and he's just on you again.
He'll pester you.
Yeah.
He'll touch you, pity pat you, and then before you know it, boom, he'll hit you with a shot, and you're looking at the lights like, what happened?
What's his weight class? I'm blanking.
I think Lomachenko's maybe 130, 126, 130. which is lightweight.
Good. You'll never have to worry about him.
I don't have to worry about him.
He could put on 20 pounds, but that's not
yeah,
anywhere
he's still
near
a ways
you.
off. It's still a ways off.
If
And
he got to 170, that would be 175. That would be a little weird.
but the way he does his thing though, like I wouldn't be surprised if he tried something like that, like fight a bigger guy, like really bigger guy.
He's
Because
gonna have to. Who's gonna fight him?
He's just like he breaks all the rules but gets away with it. Like
What's the if there was a boxing czar? What would be the first thing you changed?
a what?
If let's say there's a czar of boxing, President Trump appoints one, and this czar is going to take care of situations like the one you had where you're suing your promoter or the promoter suing you and all that stuff. But what would you want to see? Do we need like a central,
Yeah,
like
we need
one
something.
title
pension,
pension?
fighter pension / medical.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy that doesn't exist.
We have nothing.
You guys are like Uber drivers.
We're on our own.
You
Straight
really
up.
are. It's like
We got nothing.
just put you in the app and that's it.
I mean, seriously,
some
like
tips.
we literally have nothing.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, it's our job to figure it out. But you get a check. All right, we take our cut. See you later.
There's no way to fix it though, because every time there's a new young up and coming boxer to get fights, they have to sign with a promoter. It's not, you can't be Chance the Rapper and just be, I'm doing this myself. I don't need anybody.
Independent. Well, there's some independent guys. You look at like Devin Haney. He's independent. Young up and
But
coming.
you'd have
guy.
to have everybody do that.
I don't think that the promoters are the issue. I just think that there needs to be some government appointed oversight with bylaws and rules in place. That way, yeah, I can sign with X promoter or Y promoter, but they have to abide by this mandate, this rule. So if there's some type of pension, now obviously you got to get guys to pay into the pension. That's the tough part. But then you got medical. And this is all centered around life after boxing, which we don't have a very good percentage of guys who are walking around with their scruples and something tangible to show for all the wars.
I think Muhammad Ali, what happened to him in the condition he was in after his career, probably scared away a lot of potential boxers.
It's true.
And, you know, I know he was diagnosed with Parkinson's and all that stuff, but all I know is that dude took more punches than anybody ever.
Yeah.
And especially like later in his career, which is when you don't want to take him. He had 5 years of fights with Ernie Shavers, guys like that just beating the shit out of him.
Yeah, he just shouldn't happen. Like,
yeah.
he had so many opportunities. I mean, if you look at like
He
Ali's
gets out
fight,
of the third Frazier fight. That's it. I think he's
yeah,
fine.
Yeah, or you look at Zaire, Africa, with Big George Foreman. Like, that's a perfect opportunity to walk away. They made $5 million in what, the 70s? The 70s or 60s? 70s?
75,
Come on,
74.
man. That's like $15 million or $20 million today.
He's getting divorced, though. He lost half of it coming out of the gate.
But that's always part of the story is, you know, mishaps there,
Yeah.
personal life. You hang on too long. Now we have to fight to pay these tax bills, et cetera, et cetera.
And that
So-
leads to the Larry Holmes fight.
Yeah, which is sad. I mean, Larry cried after that fight. Larry Holmes
Yeah, that was terrible.
looked up to Ali, got his start from Ali, used to go to
Yeah.
training camp in Deer Lake, Pennsylvania. That was his idol. And then
That
you
was
end
one
up-
of the first 30 for 30s we did. I was involved. I created 30 for 30. We developed
Yeah.
all that stuff. And this guy who documented that fight, this famous documentarian, we met with him to do 30 for 30. Like, if we had any ideas, he's like, I followed Ali around before the Holmes fight. I think it's in a warehouse somewhere. We're like, what? And it turned out to be this whole documentary. And it's like watching somebody.
I saw that. I saw that 30 for 30.
Yeah, it's a great one.
Recently,
Sorry, my
actually.
wife's calling me.
It's all good. It's all good.
But yeah, it's poor Ali.
Yeah, I didn't
And
realize.
I think it scared people off.
But I didn't I think you're right. But I didn't realize he was in that bad a shape.
Yeah, his hand, like there's scenes where his
He was
hands,
already
like,
shaking.
Yeah.
He had a bunch of fat around his belly. He was training at 30-40% of what he normally would. And in my mind, I'm like, why didn't anybody on his team stop him?
No, he's an ATM machine to them.
It's the checks. It's the money.
That's another problem with boxing. It just seems like some of these guys have so many people around them that, and then it's, you know, and Ali is a great example. He had the most.
Yeah.
He had to have a whole camp practically, and he probably barely knew half the people.
You know, like, so I went to Canastota, New York, probably 2 years ago.
Yeah.
The Boxing Hall of Fame. First time ever there. Unbelievable. It's like so bitter and so sweet all at the same time. Saw so many guys that I think Tito Trinidad, Felix Trinidad was
Oh my
inducted.
God. Yeah.
I think Oscar De La Hoya was inducted. But then I saw a lot of guys who never became champ, just guys that I knew. Iran, Barkley, Leon, and Michael Spinks.
Yeah.
I had a great time being around these guys, but then it saddened me because a lot of these guys are shuffling in and out of the room. Yeah, they get a round of applause, former champ, but they got nothing to show for it. They falling on hard times. That's part of what I want to change in this sport.
Yeah.
And I don't have all the answers, and it's obviously going to take more than me. But first and foremost, I'm just trying to lead by example. Everybody's not going to make $20 million, but what you make, what are you doing with it?
Man, and Michael Spinks, he had some big fights. A lot of these guys had big-ass pay-per-view fights.
Now, Michael, from what I understand, did right by his money.
Oh, good.
He seemed to be fine mentally, and after that Tyson fight, he said, "That's it, I'm done." And he saved what he had. He made a lot of money that night.
I was in high school when that fight. I was the guy who had the fights in the everyone came to my basement for the fight. Big party.
Yeah.
My mom's making food. She came down with the food. The fight was over. I was like, no, she said he's already been knocked out. It was
That's
like 90
it.
seconds.
I mean, how many
Tyson
times
beats
I
anybody
was
that
gonna say,
night.
how many times has Tyson done that to people? Like, seriously.
I think Ali is the best heavyweight ever. I still think Tyson that night beats anybody. He was just locked in and the scariest person who ever lived.
Yeah.
And now who knows? All right, Andre Ward. So I'm going to wager on you again. Don't let me down.
Hey, man, I'm not saying do it, but I'm not saying don't do it.
No, I think
you got to trust your heart, man.
Listen. I know what I know.
Okay.
I think you figured it out. I think he's going to come out and he's going to try to knock you out in the first 5 rounds again. I think that's it, is who he is. Weather the storm. Do your thing. If you need me to walk out in Steph Curry's place, I'm here.
No, I was going to say, can we get you in the corner, though? Because, like, we get a little...
Andre, settle down.
As an advisor.
We talked about this.
Because you know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I like that. I like what you just said.
Well, I do think you need beast mode in your corner.
Well, that's what I'm thinking about doing. I'm thinking about maybe bringing out the whole Bay Area. I'm thinking about. I gotta see if everybody can get maybe Marshawn.
Oh, like Marshawn Dame.
Maybe a few of those people. Maybe a couple other people.
That would be unbelievable.
An all Bay Area cast.
We never
out.
talked about the Raiders. We got to talk about that very quick.
I'm salty, man.
Yeah, I know. It's almost like you don't even want to bring it up to people in Oakland.
I'm salty about the Warriors leaving too.
Yeah, so that was kind of an under the radar. And the Warriors are spinning it a certain way, but it's like, well, it's 20 minutes away, and it's like, well, but you're not in Oakland.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm salty about that. I get it.
Yeah.
I understand the business side of it. And I know pretty much everybody in that arena. I fought there 6-7 times. I know everybody in there. A good amount of people are going over, meaning the workers, the attendants, people like that. But there's some people that can't make it over there.
It wasn't quite the same there anymore anyway.
Oracle?
Well, once the team got good, the irony of it was the fan base changed a little bit. Like, that used to be the most diverse arena.
Yeah.
You went there in the 90s and the early 2000s, and it was like there was no NBA crowd like that. And then you could feel the money start to change it. And then it became what it is. It's still a very good crowd, but it's not what it was.
And it'll be interesting when they go from Oracle to Chase. But I'm not happy about it, and I'm definitely not happy about the Raiders.
I still don't you feel like there's a 20% chance the Raiders don't leave?
I'm still holding on with both hands.
I don't know why. I just can't believe it's actually going to happen. They're going to go to Vegas, and people are just going to go pay to go see the other team. All that when they play the Pats, like there's going to be 60,000 Boston fans. They're like, come on.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
But the silver lining would be to sign Marshawn Lynch for 2 years, 2 to 3.
Oh,
We
it's
can
like
get
an
that.
olive branch to the Oakland
If we
fans.
can get that, it'll be a little easier.
Pats are sniffing around on him now.
That's what they're saying. We'll see.
Yeah, it'd be good. I'd like to see him. All right, Andre Ward, good luck.
Appreciate
This
it.
was
Thank
fun.
you so much.
That's it for the pod. Thanks to Cousin Sal. Thanks to Andre Ward. Thanks to Cabbage. They are proud to support more than 100,000 small businesses with $2.9 billion in funding. Visit cabbage.com/BS. There's no cost to apply or set up your line of credit. And guess what? As a BS podcast listener, when you qualify for funding, you will get a $100 Visa gift card you can use anywhere. Visit cabbage.com/BS. That's cabbage with a K. Cabbage.com/BS. And thanks to Sonos for epic sound you can feel from a speaker you'll hardly notice. You need Playbase from Sonos. Playbase adds pulse panning sound to whatever's playing. Movies, sports, TV, gaming, music, whatever. You don't even have to read the manual. The Sonos app guides you through every step of the setup. One power cord, one optical cord is all it takes. Everything sounds better on Playbase. See for yourself at Sonos.com. Sonos.com. Don't forget about the Ringer NFL show. Night of the draft. Day after, right after round 2. Couple shows coming up with all of our crew. Don't forget about the Ringer.com. NBA playoffs, NFL draft, baseball, pop culture, everything. Ringer.com, that is where my newest column is coming out very, very soon. And we'll be back on Friday with another BS podcast. I banked a couple great guests, by the way. I'm very excited. One of them I Instagrammed already. It's Trey and Matt from South Park. I think that's coming next week. Had another good one, too. We are stepping it up here on the BS podcast. Thanks for listening. See you on Friday.